station. This is WTOP Radio. How do you hear me?
We've got you loud and clear. Welcome on board the International Space Station.
Wow, this is really cool. This has not been done before. We are talking live here on WTOP with the International Space Station, and we say hello to Commander Terry Virts, now in command. Congratulations, Commander. We are happy to hear that you are from Maryland. You're a local guy.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And I am a local, born and raised in Maryland. And hello to all the folks down there in Maryland and D.C. and Virginia. I've been watching. We take a look whenever we have a pass, and it looks like it's been a pretty cold and white winter so far.
We are watching you on NASA TV, and we're streaming it on our website at WTOP.com. And it's really wonderful to talk to you, and also to flight engineer Samantha Cristoforetti, who joins us. She's an Italian astronaut. Welcome to you as well, and thank you for talking with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us. It's wonderful to be here.
Great to hear from you both. Terry, we know this is not your first mission on the space station. We want to know how has it changed over time? Does it get easier for you? Tell us about it.
Well, living here in space absolutely gets easier. The first few weeks that you're here, your body's still getting used to weightlessness. You're still learning how to float and how to move around, and you're learning the space station where things are located. And so the first few weeks can definitely be an adjustment period. But then it seems like somewhere between the 1 and 2 month period, you kind of hit your stride. You are adapted. You understand how to float. And there was one day I was actually trying to remember what gravity felt like. It's weird that your body adjusts so completely to being weightless, but it's a pretty cool process.
We have a lot of questions, especially from school kids who are listening in their classrooms this morning. In fact, Mrs. Balzar's fifth grade class, Andrew, asked, how do you sleep at night if every 45 minutes the sun rises and sets?
Well, Andrew, that's a great question. And luckily, we don't have a window in our crew quarters where we sleep. So we shut the door, turn off the lights, and in our small crew quarters where our sleeping bag is, there's no light, so your body just thinks it's dark and thinks it's time to sleep. And I actually sleep really well. Oftentimes it's a busy day, so you don't get a large amount of sleep, but when I am asleep, I sleep very well, thankfully, because we close the windows and don't see any sunlight.
As you can imagine, we get a lot of questions about the food that you are eating. I know that there are cargo supplies that bring you fresh food every so often. What do you get to eat? Do you get to have some of your favorite foods? Tell us about what you have and how often do you get fresh food?
Terry and I are very different in terms of taste and the stuff we like to eat. But up here, we definitely both have been enjoying the few times that we have received fresh food. And that really happens whenever there is a new cargo vehicle that comes up here. So that happened early in our mission when a Progress vehicle came. And then in last January, we had a Dragon arriving and then a Progress again. Next week, we'll have a Soyuz, although I don't think there's space for food for fresh food in the Soyuz. But we'll definitely get some more fresh food coming up in the next weeks when the next Dragon will come. And the reason is that we do not have a fridge. We have a little refrigerator up here, but it's not enough to keep fresh food for a long time. So most of the food that we eat usually is thermally stabilized so that it can be shelf stable for a long time and we can keep it stored in here for months or even over a year. Or it's dehydrated, and so we plug it into our water dispenser. We plug the pouch into the water dispenser, and magically, with add in the water, it turns into food that we would recognize. And there is a great variety of food for all tastes and flavors.
Commander Virts, we have some questions from students at Oakland Mills Middle School, which I think is a familiar name to you. One of the questions is from one of the kids who's asking about being away from your family for so long. And I guess for both of you, how do you deal with being away, and are you able to communicate with them?
Well, that's a great question. Yes, Oakland Mills. I'm a Scorpion and graduated from there in 1985. had a great time there. What an awesome place. But it is probably the toughest thing is being separated from your family, not only for the 6 months here that we're in space, but also for the several years beforehand that we were in training. We were gone a lot. And so it's tough. They're the real heroes. Everybody sees the astronauts in space and wants to talk to us, but it's the families that provide us support that allow us to do this, and they're the real heroes in that. That's a great question.
Commander Virts, we have enjoyed the many pictures of the baseball fields that you have been sending back. And so a number of folks, we know you are from Maryland, but have been told to ask, are you a Nats fan or an Orioles fan?
Samantha says she can answer that one. She's become a baseball expert. But I'll tell you, what I'm rooting for is for the Orioles and the Nationals to be playing at the end of October this year. That's what I'd really love to see is a Game 7 between those guys right around Halloween time. And with the Nationals pitching staff this year, it definitely looks like they may be playing late in October. And with the Orioles coming off that 96-win season, they have a great shot at it too. So, of course, when I grew up, it was in the 70s and 80s, and the Orioles were going to the World Series and playoffs all the time. So I'm a homegrown, lifelong Orioles fan for sure.
We've got a few questions for you guys. By the way, that was a good political answer.
That's a great
Not
answer,
only a commander, but a politician.
That's a great answer.
From the Gun Anavim kindergarten class in the Jewish Primary Day School. Kids are studying the solar system there and space exploration, and they want to know, I guess, from each of you, how long does it take to train to become an astronaut? And tell us a little bit about what you're seeing up there. How beautiful are the galaxies, and what are the colors like?
In a way, you train all of your life to become an astronaut because before you can actually train to go to space, you need to be selected as an astronaut by a space agency, like NASA in the case of Terry, or the European Space Agency in my case, and to be ready to be a valid candidate at some point of your career in your life, you really have to start working at it when you are, in school already, and you're learning your basic math and writing and science, and then you go on to college. And most astronauts have some kind of technical or scientific background. Many of us are military pilots, so you kind of start on your career, and you try to be really good at it. And the key, of course, is to be passionate about what you do. And then eventually, one day, you'll hopefully be a good candidate to become an astronaut. And then, before you can actually come on the International Space Station, you have to train specifically for several more years. And in terms of what we see and what the view is up here, we are not really equipped for astronomical observation. The big windows that we have that are on the cupola actually look down towards the Earth. So that's our biggest spectacle. The greatest views that we have are mainly from the Earth. Just seeing the continents and the oceans and the glaciers and the mountains and all the different colors and textures. All of that is just magnificent, and it's ever changing and always a surprise. Of course, we also do see the stars, and sometimes really beautiful phenomena. Like right now, I was seeing one, auroras. Now we're seeing the southern lights, which are even more impressive than the northern lights that we used to see earlier. They're like three-dimensional. You almost like fly through them. So it's just beautiful. And then, of course, as you mentioned before, 16 times a day we're treated to probably the best show of nature, which is the sunrise and the sunsets on the Earth's horizon.
Amazing. Several students have asked the question about your free time. What do you do to pass the time, and do you become concerned about hitting a wall in the space station, passing the time?
That's a good question. And to be honest, I think for our first 4 months here in space, we haven't had a lot of free time. The weekends are generally, we don't have as much scheduled work, but it seems like there's always something to do. And 2 days ago, our crewmates came back to Earth on a Soyuz, and we had yesterday off as a day to sleep shift to get our schedule back normal. And that was really nice to have some time off, make some phone calls home, and go through some emails and just rest for a day. But it seems like most days, even on the weekends, there's always something to do. So we try and pace ourselves, and 6 months seems to be a pretty good time. Folks are able to work at a really good pace for 6 months, and then there comes a time when it's time to go back to Earth. But we're not there. I think we're definitely enjoying our time here, and it still feels like there's a lot we want to get done in our remaining 2 months.
Well, that is just incredible information with Commander Terry Virts in command of the space station from Columbia, Maryland, also with flight engineer Samantha Cristoforetti speaking to us aboard the International Space Station here on WTOP.
Thank you both for taking the time. We really appreciate it. This was an unprecedented opportunity for us, and we appreciate the work that you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great talking to y'all, and hopefully I'll be back to Earth in time for that Orioles Nationals World Series.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the WTOP radio portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from Euronews.
Station, this is Euronews. How do you hear me?
We hear you. It's a little bit soft, but we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Terry. Buongiorno, Samantha. Thank you very much for joining us on Euronews. I would like to start by asking how you feel about the other 3 crew members returning to Earth. As the next crew will arrive at the end of March, do you feel a bit lonely up there in space?
You know, it was sad seeing those guys leave. We were together for 4 months. They're very good friends, and we really enjoyed our time together. So it was sad seeing them leave. We're not too lonely, though. We have me, Samantha, and Anton are together now. And this is an interesting 2-week time where we'll have the space station ourselves before our next crew arrives. But I do want to say happy birthday to Sasha. Today's his birthday. Alexander Samokutyaev, happy birthday. С днем рождения.
In the first 4 months of your mission, you have carried out some scientific experiments. Samantha, could you tell us more about this and explain the importance of these tests?
Yes, of course, scientific research is the main reason why we are up here on the International Space Station. The space station is an outstanding laboratory that allows us to do research in this very special condition, which is microgravity or weightlessness, which is very intriguing in many scientific fields because by doing scientific observations in microgravity, you can observe and measure and quantify phenomena that otherwise you would not be able, maybe not even to notice, and certainly not to study in detail in the presence of the effects of gravity on Earth. And some of those fields are human science, of course, biology, human physiology, but also material science, fluid physics, and of course the space station is also a platform for some experiments that are actually observations of the universe. I've done a lot of things in the last few months, so it's going to be difficult to name them all. But I can mention the few things that I have been working on recently and I will be working on soon, which are 2 European Space Agency experiments, airway monitoring and triple looks. And both of them actually have been a little bit troublesome. And I actually like to say this because, you don't want to give the impression that in science everything works right off the bat and immediately. Sometimes it is hard. It takes several trials. It takes a little bit of trial and error. It takes adjustments. It takes learning. And that has definitely been the case, for example, on this experiment airway monitoring, which is a very intriguing scientific protocol that for the first time is going to study how the gaseous exchange in the lungs is affected by both the weightlessness, microgravity, and even reduced pressure. Actually, Terry and I were locked up in the airlock for several hours at reduced pressure to do some of those measurements. And then one which is going to come up as soon as we have fixed some issues we're having with the biolab rack is triple looks, which is another intriguing scientific protocol which is aimed at studying the effect of weightlessness on the immune system, on the behavior of some specific immune cells that are involved whenever our body fights disease.
Terry, another goal of this mission was to prepare the station for the arrival of future private spaceships. For NASA, it will mean once again having direct access to space. How important will it be having a partnership with private companies for space exploration?
Well, it's been a big part of our mission so far, both doing spacewalks and doing work inside to get ready for the future vehicles that will be coming to the space station. And it's very important for NASA, our way forward, the way that we're going to launch astronauts from Florida once again to the space station is going to be on both a Boeing capsule and a SpaceX capsule, starting sometime in the next probably 2 years, and we're really looking forward to that. It's a important part of the space station program. It's an important logistical thing that needs to be solved in order to get people to the station and back, so it's very important.
And what comes after the International Space Station once its mission is over? How do we ensure the presence of humans in space?
Well, that's a great question. The plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
Samantha, according to a recent survey based on research on internet, you are the most popular Italian woman in the world, ahead of Monica Bellucci and Laura Pausini. Does it mean that science may be more attractive than showbiz?
Your haircut.
Well, I'm not sure that was a survey conducted according to the most scientific and statistical criteria, but just to take it for the fun that I'm sure it was meant to be. I'm certainly happy that a person like me, who is really nobody as a person, but has the privilege of being the representative of something really special, which is the space station program, having this incredible technological, scientific achievement, which is really a testament of what humanity can achieve when we decide to work together and put together our best minds all over the world to do something which is really amazing. And of course, it's a testament to the scientific research that is conducted here and all the technological development, which is really just, ensuring that we do all the steps that are necessary for further exploration in the future. So in that sense, of course, I am happy that about the outcome of this survey, which again I'm sure it was meant in good fun.
Okay, just a quick question sent in by our social media followers. In around 2 months, you will come back to Earth. What did you guys miss the most during your stay in space?
Well, that's a great question. Living here is very pleasant. We have everything that we need. The food is good. We're here with good friends, and so life here in space is pretty good. The thing I think we miss the most is people. Missing our families on Earth, missing our friends, getting back to see folks. That's the thing that you really miss more than anything. Another thing that I'll throw out there, we were just talking about this, is weather. We don't have weather here, and we were just talking about rain and snow and what it's like to have on Earth. So that is something that I miss, and I'm looking forward to experiencing a little bit of weather. Hopefully a lot of sun and warmth, but other rain and snow and that kind of stuff is something that we don't get here.
Okay, to finish, I would like to ask how you remember on the station actor Leonard Nimoy, and was your interest in space inspired by Star Trek and Mr. Spock, just like so many people?
We're going to have to ask you to say that question again one more time, please.
I would like to ask how you remembered on the station actor Leonard Nimoy, and was your interest in space inspired by Star Trek and Mr. Spock?
Okay, now I understand. Yeah, thanks for the question. Definitely, I was, as a big trekker growing up, I was really a big fan. And I do think that it has played a part in helping me to show me this path, to help me become aware that this is what I wanted to do, become an astronaut, travel to space, and play a little bit my part in this human adventure of space exploration, which is just, one long journey, and one day maybe, or, I believe so, a Star Trek reality will become true. So I really felt like I had an obligation to honor Leonard Nimoy when he passed away recently.
Thank you very much for having been with us. Enjoy the rest of your mission, and just as Mr. Spock would have said, live long and prosper.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And hello to all the folks down there in Europe. We just had a beautiful Passover Europe this morning. It looked like a sunny day in a lot of places, and we'll see you back on Earth in a few months.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.